What's up everybody, welcome back to another shoe rotation video, kind of a special video today as we have a guest. I'm going to pass the word to him in a second for a short introduction and then we're going to get straight into it. Welcome Trey, nice to have you with us today.
Yeah man, I appreciate you having me on your channel. This is dope. I've seen a lot of cool sneaker content from you and I'm a big fan of sneakers. I'm actually a 6-year professional basketball player overseas. Excited to talk shoes with you, man. This should be really fun.
Yeah, I think so too. I've been looking forward to this, and how I usually do is I start with the shoes that I wore in my last game, and since I'm already in the off season and you're the guest, you're allowed to start, so let's start off with your last game day pair.
A lot of pressure, but I'm currently in the middle of a playoff run. We just finished our quarterfinals, and in that game I wore the Book 1 Sedonas. These are my first pair of books that I actually have purchased, and I have been pleasantly surprised. I've heard a lot of good things, a lot of people rave about them, but I was kind of skeptical because they look so much like a lifestyle shoe. I mean, you see the silhouette, it's kind of like an Air Force One, but I'm telling you, initially my sneaker of 2025 was the Sabrina ones, but now it's leaning towards the Book ones. A lot of the books are made of different material, and this one's more of like a cloth material. So it made it super, like I broke them in one day. My favorite thing about these is just like, they're so comfortable on foot.
Exactly what I love about them too, man. They're so comfortable, man.
And for me too, the traction is like unreal. They're not heavy and they fit to your foot. Like I said, this took me one practice to break them in. So these are what I wore last game. I liked them so much, I bought 3 other colorways.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Like viewers from my channel, they know that Book 1 is also like my favorite shoe already from last year and now also still in 2025. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I've got 8 colorways now by now already.
Yeah.
And I go through them, like, and as I said, that's like the newest colorway I got. I also had a pair of the Book 1s in my last game. We won the championship in the second league in Austria, and I played with the Sunrise colorway that's got the same material as the Sedona one that you have.
Yeah.
And I actually prefer those colorways with those materials for like 2 reasons. One being, as you said, they break in so quickly. So it's like you take them out of the box, you go to practice with them and there's no pinching, there's just no pain at all, which happens a lot with new shoes. And the second for me is a lot of their colorways use leather materials, and I'm actually live on a vegan diet and I'm also trying to implement that in the rest of my life now, so I try not to use leather products anymore, which is kind of hard because I really like a lot of shoes that have leather materials, but it's just for me, I just try to avoid them now.
Yeah.
And one thing I also like about the Book 1 is how the midfoot is shaped. So like this area right here is very comfortable for my foot shape, and that's just why I play with them so much. And as you said, they're just so comfortable, especially in the heel area with that big zoom air unit, and tiers are nicely padded, the tongue is relatively thick. I totally agree with like everything you said about them.
Yeah.
Maybe something newer from my side or for the viewers on my channel, I've been using the Harden Volume 9 a lot. This colorway I actually wore outdoors a couple of times. I don't have gym access all the time during summer, as I actually also live in a different city than the team that I play for. So I just have to play outdoors. And at first they were kind of narrow for me because my midfoot is pretty wide. And this material or the fit is like, it kind of moves in over the top of your foot. So that was a little bit weird at first. But then I just kept on playing with them because I liked the design and they actually fit me really well. And I recently got another colorway, this blue one right here, which I think is just really beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the best for your jerseys. I don't know if blue and red is the best, but for my jerseys they're yellow, so I think they actually go well with that. By the way, if you're wondering where we get most of our shoes from, they're from Kicks. It's a German store. They sell all over Europe, and you can find an affiliate link in the description box down below. Or if you want to do me a favor, you can use the code Lucas. If you want to do Trey a favor, you can use the code Trey. Is that the right code?
Yeah, that's the right code. Yeah, they gotta make a choice, man. Whoever's opinions they like more.
I think we can split it up, so like half go to your side, half go to my side. Yeah. But anyways, have you tried the Harden 9s?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have them with me, but I got one pair of Harden 9s, and I was kind of nervous to break them in the middle of the season, just because at the start of the season, I was wearing the Harden 8s and I was loving them. But there was an issue with the Harden 8s and the Harden 7s, kind of where you said in that midfoot area. I was getting like pinching on my pinky toe and I kept getting a blister there. And so I ordered those Harden 9s, I think like a half size small, because I read something like they run a little big. And I worked out with them like twice and I felt that blister starting to come back. So I had to abandon it mid-season. You can't have, it's tough to play with blisters.
Blisters are probably the worst thing that can happen with new shoes. It's so annoying because even if you go back to a pair that fits you well, you still feel the blister because it's just an irritation on your skin. One thing I thought about, because you said you didn't want to break them in mid-season, are you superstitious when it comes to your basketball shoes? Because I know that I'm really superstitious. For example, with the Book 1s, I switched to a different team mid-season, which is always kind of difficult.
Yeah, very difficult.
And it's my hometown team, so I was welcome there, and the players were really nice, coach was nice, but it's still hard to adapt. And in my first game, I wore the Sabrina 2s, and I didn't play too well. We lost the game, and then the next game, I just kind of switched it up to the Book 1s, and that's the pair that I stuck with it all season, and we won the championship in it. So now I'm thinking, man, I gotta get the same colorway again for next year.
Right.
So I was wondering if you're the same way.
I'm like half and half. Like if I play good in a pair, I'll probably stick to it until, I play bad. The first time I'm wearing them, I play bad and I feel kind of funky in them. They're gonna go to the side. They gotta earn their chance to come back. Yeah. But for me, I'm the opposite with the Sabrinas. First time I wore Sabrinas, it wasn't this colorway. It was the University Red colorway.
I saw some videos of yours with that colorway, and I really wanted to get a pair.
Yeah.
But I didn't find them in my size sadly anymore. It's some stores that I had an eye on, and it looks so cool.
Yeah, I like the colorway too because it's not like most of the red colorways are almost like an electric red. But it was like a little darker red, and it fit our jerseys like perfectly.
Yeah.
And I wore those in my first game of the season this year. We played Real Madrid. It was like a battle of the Iberian Peninsula.
I actually watched your YouTube video on that. It's a cool video. So definitely a recommendation if you haven't seen that to my followers or subscribers. You definitely need to check that out.
And it was I played really well on them. And then I only wore the Sabrinas for the most of the preseason. But then what I am very superstitious about is I got injured in them in the Champions League qualifiers, and then I completely went away from them. I don't think it's because of the design of the shoe, but before the books, the Sabrina 2s were my sneaker of the year. I mean, you can see them, the silhouette is it's a Kobe 5 to a T. Nike nailed it with these, and I don't want to sound misogynist or bigoted, but when it was Sabrina's shoe, I was just kind of nervous about, this is a woman's shoe, is it made for the forces that women are gonna put through the floor playing basketball or men's? And so I was a little skeptical, but I'm telling you, in the same way with the books, you put them on first time, one day they're broken in. I'm like, this is insane. And it's the grip, incredible. I really enjoy low top shoes too. And so your ankle can move freely. Platform's not too high. A lot of people get the misconception that you roll your ankle because you don't have ankle support. It's because of how high the platform is. Because you roll your ankle, your foot slips off that platform basically. And these are low to the ground, but with great cushioning. And I just think the Sabrinas have so many cool colorways. I
went for those. The jerseys of my team are yellow, so those are
perfect.
Exactly the same tone, so that fits really nicely. The only thing I don't like about them is actually that they kind of twist really easily. I don't know, so if you try to bend them like that, that's something I don't like as much. If you compare it with the books, for example, they're just a little bit more stiff and only the forefoot flexes more. So I was wondering, do you actually play with insoles in your shoes? That's maybe also something that's interesting. Or do you use the stock insoles that come with the shoe?
That's actually a great question because I don't wear insoles. My team, we get form fitted for them, and they're you need to wear these.
Yeah.
But I've had a lot of foot issues. In college, I broke my foot 3 times in one season from all these different overuse stuff. And during that time, they were being super aggressive with the insoles. At one point, I was wearing literally a carbon fiber shank plate, and it was just it was just so aggressive, and my feet were just always in panic mode because everything was changing, everything was aggressive changes, I guess. So I don't. It makes it tough sometimes to wear shoes because a lot of shoes feel very different. I mean, you have these Sabrinas feel one way. I got my Kobe 8s, these feel massively different. So you have to take that into consideration. If you have insoles, then a lot of time you can switch your shoes a lot easier, but I don't. Do you?
Only with certain pairs, not with the books, for example, because I like the support. I use I don't know if you've ever seen those Victory insoles. They also have a full carbon plate, and I also have a partnership with them. And I actually tried them out with my athletic coach, and we noticed that they actually improved my biomechanic forces a lot.
Really?
That's why I actually use them for shoes just like the Sabrina, for example, where I just don't like the support, or where I feel I'm someone who needs a lot of torsional support, right around here in the middle.
Yeah.
For shoes like that, I use them. But as you said, for shoes for example, the Book 1, or if let's say I see the Kobe 6 behind you with a pair of Kobe 6s, if I put the Victory insoles in those, it just feels so aggressive on my foot, and it kind of hurts because there's just too much in there. and that's why I don't use it with all shoes. So for the books, no. For the Sabrinas, I do. For most of my pairs that I use in games, I kind of also prefer the stock insole, because for the books also just the shoe fits my feet so well. And I feel like the insole also kind of conforms to my feet very nicely. And for me, it's kind of yes and no. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
One of the interesting things with the Sabrinas though, I've only probably worn these, I would say 10 to 15 times. But with like my university red ones, they broke down like unbelievably fast. I mean, I've worn these 10 times and you can already see like it's ripping here. They have kind of like this mesh part that kind of like covers the what's it called? The lacing system or like the lock-in system. It just starts to tear on mine. And my university red ones, I wore them for like 2 months every single day. Like I beat them down and now they're unwearable. So one of my things, for as great as they feel, it's kind of like short-lived. They can be your daily drivers for like 2 months and then you probably got to get another pair.
Yeah.
I mean, they're priced pretty reasonable, so it's not a huge thing, but if you're someone that's looking for like a shoe for like a whole off season, or like you normally, get a pair at the start of the season and a pair in the middle of the season, it's probably not gonna last you a full half season. At best, probably a quarter of the season. So if you're kind of working on a budget, I'd kind of be cautious of that with the Sabrina 2.
Yeah, definitely. That's a very good point. I got a lot of messages about that actually from people asking me if mine also ripped. And I also like these, I had like 10 times or something, and also like on this side, the material is starting to rip. So it's definitely a good point. The durability isn't the best. Also, if you're playing outdoors, I would get another pair.
Yeah.
These are not for that. Another pair I saw that you got it also from Kicks. I saw it on unboxing you did, and also on your story, is the AE1s.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask what you think of them. I got a pair of the highs in the rotation right now and also the lows. This colorway is just absolutely beautiful. And I think you have the same one. Yeah, there we go.
I've worn these probably 3 or 4 times. They're just an aggressive change from the books and from the Sabrinas, which are my main 2 daily drivers. 1 second, my dogs are gonna bark. Hey, Penelope. My neighbors just got home. But yeah, so for me, these are so aggressively different than the books and the Sabrina 2s, which are the shoes I wear every day, that I kind of gotta sprinkle them in. So I've like tried to break them in a couple of workouts, but like you said, compared to the Sabrinas, it's like you're not gonna bend these at all.
These are crazy stiff.
Pretty heavy too.
Yeah, that's what I want to say. Have you tried a pair of the highs? These are even worse, man. That's like, you said those are stiff and heavy. In my opinion, these actually feel light compared to the highs. I know it's not that big of a difference, just a little bit more material here.
Yeah.
But they also changed the cushioning setup. Here we have like a boost and light strike mix, and I think here it's light boost or what they call it. And these are just so heavy on foot. And at first it didn't bother me as much, but the more I played with them, just my feet feel like they get tired more quickly.
Yeah.
And I actually wonder if like Anthony Edwards himself is like different pairs that are maybe lighter or something. That would be really interesting for me to find out, because I can't imagine like practicing and playing with them every single day. It's just so heavy.
Yeah. For me, it's like, I don't know if this is a rule of thumb, but it's something when I consider buying shoes. But a lot of times I try and buy sneakers of players that play similar positions as me or have similar play styles, I would say, because you got to think the shoe is built for their performance. I don't think it prioritizes everything, but a lot of times the shoe designers are taking that into consideration a lot. So I'm surprised with these. It's like Anthony Edwards is lightning quick, has crazy explosion, so maybe he can get away with playing with a heavier shoe, and maybe he needs that durability, and that's probably why I think like this is like that different material, because this is not going to break down. I don't think I've played with them enough to have like a real strong opinion about them, but just my first impressions, heavy, and they are a little narrow as well. That's how I felt. So
now I also like them, but I think I used them for 1 game this season, which is kind of already a little bit of a high praise considering that I wore like books for 90-95% of my games. So I actually switched to them for 1 game, says there that I like them, but I think I also couldn't wear them on a daily basis. They're just a little bit too heavy. Also feel a little bit clunky on foot, just because they're like so heavy and bottom heavy as well. You feel like you just get pulled down to the ground a little bit.
I'm gonna give these guys a real try this off season, just because I put in like a lot of time in the off season. And you don't need to feel your best in these workouts. So it's like, you know what, maybe I'll feel slow and heavy sometimes, and it's like, we'll see.
Another shoe I'm using quite a lot right now, not for games, because I also don't think they have enough support, is the Tatum 3. Get well soon, Jason Tatum, for one. He had a really bad injury, and the Celtics are my favorite team, so that sucks.
Oh, that's even worse.
that was really bad. But the shoes, I really like the design, especially this colorway. I mean, I love pink shoes and just how they look on foot. I also like the fit of them. It's even worse than with the Sabrinas for me. It's like they have almost no support. They also don't have a shank plate. You only have this little plasticky overlay here on the side, and they bend really, really easily. And it's a very soft and comfortable wear. So maybe you'll like them if you enjoy the Sabrinas, but they're even softer. So I don't know if that's good for you. The materials are also very thin. So I actually started wearing one pair off court because they were so comfortable. But just for games or really 5-on-5 practices or harder workouts, I can wear them because they're just not supportive enough, but I really like the look, so I use them for shoot arounds. Have you tried the Tatum Freeze?
I haven't tried them, but I agree with you. They look incredible. And I ordered that same colorway, and then I ordered, it's like white with the green.
Oh yeah, I saw that one too.
I mean, that's a good looking shoe. I am kind of like a purist though. Like I normally stick with Nike and Adidas, but I've heard good things about the Jason Tatum 3s. I got 2 colorways, but hopefully they'll be durable enough for the off season. It's one of those things like, you know, as an American living over here, I always order shoes during the season and I ship them to my house. So when I come home, it feels like Christmas. You get there, you're like, oh, I didn't even, you know, I ordered these 7 months ago. Like, oh, great. So, so hopefully, you know, those will be ready for me in the off season. I'll have more opinions on them. I want to get into talking about some Kobe's. They're kind of like, to me, they feel like they're overhyped. You know, like you have guys that will, I only wear Kobe's. And I used to kind of be that guy until I got a couple pairs of Kobe's that I like didn't like. And this is one of them. I got these Kobe 9 Halo, I think they're the Approach or Halos. They just like didn't work for me.
That's interesting, as that is actually one of the pairs I like to practice in a lot. I haven't played a game in them yet because I just stuck with the books towards the end of the season. Yeah. But they kind of fit my foot well, and they do kind of work for me. But I also, like, it's weird with this, especially with the Kobe 9s. For a lot of people, they, like, as you said, they swear on them. They say it's the best basketball shoe ever. And then other people, like you apparently, say they don't work at all. They're uncomfortable. They don't fit me. I don't know what the issues are exactly, but probably like all of it together.
For me, it bothered me though, because growing up, like, I think I had the Kobe 9 Brazils because my best friend, he's half Brazilian. We both got them. It had the Brazilian flag on it, and we were like, dude, these are the greatest shoes ever. I wore them until like they ripped at the bottom here. Like I killed those shoes. Yeah. And so I was like, oh dude, I gotta get a pair of these. If they're all white, like they'll look so clean with their white jerseys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and then I wear them at practice, and I don't know if it's a change in material, if Nike did something different with the new kind of runs of the Kobe's, but they didn't feel the same. Maybe I was naive as a kid. I was like, oh, you know, as a kid you can wear any shoe and it probably feels pretty good. But it's just, again, like you said, when you're switching from shoe to shoe, they have to be a little similar. And these were like very different just because I think they have the drop insole as well.
Yeah, they have a drop in, yeah.
And so it was like wearing an insole, and I wasn't used to wearing an insole. And I felt like I would try and lace them up like really, really tight, and then I felt like the figure of the shoe would change because like naturally when I put it on, it wasn't very snug to my foot. I'd lace it really tight and this tongue would kind of stick up, and I kind of like...
That's actually something that bothers me too, that the tongue is kind of weird.
Yeah, it's like a little too long.
I don't know why they did that, man.
It makes me paranoid because when I played in Germany, there was this website, not Kicks, but BBL Kicks.
Okay.
And I was like, they were selling all these Kobe's, and I was like, and they're charging like resale prices. So I'm like, oh dude, these are gonna be legit. And I paid, I think it was $1,100 for a pair of Grinches and a pair of Del Sols, both 6s. And I got them, was so hyped. I put them on my TikTok. I'm like, look at these. And I started getting spammed. Those are fake, those are fake, those are fake. And I'm like, dude, no way.
I think I actually remember those videos because I've been following you for a while on TikTok, and you've been making content longer than me actually. Yeah. And I kind of, now that you say something about it, I kind of remember that I saw like you first posting the Kobe's, and I was like, damn, those are nice, man. I wish I could have gotten a pair. Yeah. And then I saw the comments, I was like, no way, that can't be that they're fake. Like.
So the big difference they said in my Kobe 6s, that was what showed they were fake, was like the tongue was like a little extended. And so now when I see this extended tongue, I'm getting paranoid. But I got these from Kicks. Kicks has 100% authenticity guarantee, but the BBL Kicks, it's like, dude, it's a crazy story because I messaged the guy back, was like, hey man, I know you sold me fakes. Like these are for sure. Yeah. Like sorry, you know, all sales are final. He wouldn't even say they weren't fake. Then when I was in Oldenburg, we had just got a new point guard, and I told everyone on the team about the website, and then a week later, we get the new point guard, and a week later he gets these new shoes, and he gets the Kobe 5 Bruce Lee's. And you're looking at him like, dude, those don't look right. And I'm like, those really don't look right. He goes, dude, yeah, they are. I got them from BBL Kicks. And I was like,
oh no.
He started calling him the Bruce Cheese all year. I was like, dude, you did not get the Bruce Lee's, you got the Bruce Cheese. But yeah, I don't know. These new Kobe's are, I mean, these 9s, the white colorway is incredible, but as you can see, they're already like, I've worn them probably 4 or 5 times and they're already dirty.
Yeah, they get dirty so quickly, man.
Yeah, if you're wearing dirty, kind of scuffed up shoes and they're supposed to be like a cool, exclusive Kobe, you're like, well,
yeah.
Takes away kind of the coolness aspect. So I might just kind of hold off on these for a while. The books have kind of taken the cake. How to get my Kobe rant off real quick.
How do you feel about the 6s? Because I think we have the same colorway. I got it here behind me as well. Yeah. I also got this one, and I really played a lot of games in the 6s last season. They were kind of my go-to shoe. Then like this year's models, they're just so narrow from the start. I can't remember that last year's model was so narrow too. I got the reverse squinches and I really played a lot of games in them. And they kind of fit my feet well. But with the newer pairs I got, they were just so painful to break in that I kind of stopped wearing them as much because they just have such a narrow fit. So I don't know if that's been an issue for you. I really like the performance apart from that, but just the breaking process is so painful for me.
Yeah.
That as soon as I like discovered books or Sabrina's, that I switched to those shoes.
Yeah, I think this has been funny because we have most of the same shoes, but that's because we're similar. Like how tall are you?
I'm around 6'2".
Yeah, but we're like similar archetypes, and so like we like the same shoes. And I would literally same story completely. Last year I got the reverse Grinches, wore them to death, won a championship in them, and kind of my thing is whenever I win I play a season, I have a favorite pair of shoes, I kind of put those away. So like I want at the end of my career to have kind of like my favorite pair from each season.
That's pretty cool.
And so last year was the reverse Grinches, and so when these came out, I was like, dude, I gotta get them. And this was before I had a partnership with Kicks, so I pulled out the money and I paid resale prices for these, and I was like super stoked on them, same as you. I'm like, dude, these are gonna be my daily, like I'm gonna wear these every game. Literally same story to a T. I wore them like 2 weeks straight every day in practice, so that's about 10 to 12 practices, and they just weren't feeling the same. Like again, they're pretty stiff too, and they weren't breaking in as fast as my reverse Grinches. And then it was like, I think I had one game that I played poorly in them, and I was like, okay, I kind of got sick. Yeah, I kind of got sick of it. I was like, I want these shoes to be great, as good as the reverse Grinches were last year, and it's just they didn't make it to that point. And so here they are in pretty good condition, not getting used.
I think mine are, I even wore them less, so like I didn't even hold on for 2 weeks because it was just so painful. It's always funny because people ask me like, why do you always play in the same shoes? Like even people that come to our games and talk to me after, like, why do you always wear that same beat up pair of Book 1s? And I just say like, man, because they're comfortable, they fit me. And when I'm like in the game situation, I don't want to worry about what's on my feet. I want to have like the best fit possible, and I just want to be able to focus on the game and just be in the moment. So that's why I actually didn't even wear them for one game this season. I think one pair that you could actually enjoy, it's another pair from Nike. It's not a Kobe though, it's the GD Cut 3.
Those are cold, yeah.
Yeah, that colorway, by the way, also like from Joel Lloyd, so also WNBA PE colorway, but of course the shoe, in my opinion, they kind of replaced the Hyperdunk line from Nike. I know they have like a retro, but kind of the GT line is what they used to do with the Hyperdunks.
Yeah.
And I really love this colorway, and I also really like the performance. And in my opinion, the best thing about them is like the Zoom X cushioning. It's really bouncy, you're still low to the ground. They're also not as stiff, it's like a smooth feeling on foot, the materials are thin. They actually do remind me of the Kobe 6s, but a little less stiff. So I just like them, and they're also better for wide feet.
Yeah.
If you haven't tried them, those could definitely be a nice option for you, since we tend to like the same shoes.
I tried to get those, and I didn't. Yeah. They sold out so fast.
Yeah, they were gone really quickly. Yeah.
But I had a couple pairs of GT Cut 2s.
Did you like those, or did you not like those?
The issue was the tongue kept slipping to the side.
Yeah, same. That was so annoying.
It was to the point like I couldn't wear them because like you said, when you're playing in the game, you want to be focused on the game, it just kept like, it felt like something was like slowly sliding off my foot while I was playing.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a small detail, like when in the grand scheme of things, but when you're feeling like this material kind of like twisting, it's actually a distraction. The same way you have a blister, in the same way. So, I liked them for, a week, but then once my mind noticed it, it was like I couldn't take my mind off it while I was playing. I don't know how that was a problem. Like you would think in the performance and the R&D, they would just like kind of figure that out, but I think it took a couple wears. Like you'd have to wear it, you know, for over an hour and a half, like a full basketball practice.
I got a lot of hate for saying that I didn't like them because also similar to the Kobe 9s, the GT Cut 2 was kind of hit or miss. So some people really liked them. I had a teammate last year, he wore them basically every game and said it's the most comfortable shoe he's ever had. And he said he doesn't mind the tongue, he just doesn't notice it as much. And I remember doing like a top 5 shoes to avoid video or something. And a lot of the comments were, man, you're tripping on the GT Cut 2s. They're awesome. I wear them every day. And I'm like, well, that's good for you, but I just can't do it, man. Like, feels like my foot is slipping out. The tongue is always like moving side to side. It was just really annoying.
When you play, do you wear 2 socks or 1 sock?
1 sock, but I also use ankle braces, so that kind of makes up. I used to wear like McDavid braces. They were a little bit more restrictive.
Yeah.
Not because my ankles were so weak, but we didn't have somebody to tape us every game when I started playing, and I landed on someone's foot a couple of times and rolled an ankle like after a rebound or like on a jumper. And then I just talked to some physios, athletic coaches, and they recommended like, okay, if you don't want to tape yourself or if you don't have somebody to do it, then try ankle braces. They're not too restrictive, but it just can help in emergency situations. And recently I switched to, I think they're too far away for me to grab them, the Better Guards ankle braces, and they actually work like a seat belt, which is really cool. So they only support your ankle in case of you actually being like right before an ankle twist or an ankle roll. Other than that, it's just like a sleeve, and you have like a little piston on the side of your foot, and like you have total mobility, total freedom of movement. They don't restrict any movements, and just in case of you actually being really close to an ankle roll, they stabilize your ankle. And I played with them all of this season. They work really, really well, so I can definitely recommend them. They're a little bit more expensive than the normal ankle braces, but that was like a long story for explaining why I just wear 1 pair of socks. If I would wear another pair of socks, I just would have not enough space in my shoes. Yeah.
Because the reason I asked, because if your teammate really liked the GT Cut 2 and didn't worry about the tongue, I was thinking maybe he had like 2 socks, so he couldn't. It was just kind of more material in there, so he couldn't really see.
That could be. Maybe he was playing double sock.
Because I'm like a 1 sock guy. Like I have like a couple pairs of like authentic NBA socks that I love to be that guy. But they're not that. I mean, they're thick, but they're not like excessive. So like I can feel every little like if something's poking me weird. Pause. Or anything like that, like you'll notice it, you know? So I talked about the Kobe 9s, probably talk a little bit about the Kobe 8s. Again, these are also a very hit or miss shoe. A lot of people love them, a lot of people hate them. So different than a lot of the shoes that are out right now, I would say, with that drop insole. I think this drop insole, it seems kind of thicker than the Kobe 9 drop insole. It seemed like they kind of lessened that in the Kobe 9. So, I mean, if you're wearing insoles and you want the Kobe 8s, like it's gonna completely like deconstruct the shoe if you take out that insole.
No, I wouldn't recommend doing that. I think it could even be a little bit dangerous because the shoes are so like dependent on that drop-in midsole. So I think that's not the best thing.
But the thing for me, these just felt like so little material. I know like there's these new shoes that have came out, the Zero shoes with like an XERO.
Yeah, I actually have a pair of those on their way to me. I'm really excited to give these a try.
It's a really interesting concept, you know, because like you're at your strongest when all your foot muscles can work. It's also probably almost nearly impossible to roll your ankle if there's no platform to roll off.
Yeah.
I just think of like, you know, the amount of impacts, like if you wore those daily.
That's also what was my concern with them, because I actually switched to barefoot shoes off court like a year ago, also just because my feet were so wide and normal shoes just tend to hurt me or like cramp up my feet. So I gave them a try and I really liked them off court, also in the weight room, like for lower body stuff or leg days. So because you're just, as you said, like really low to the ground, there's no platform there, just feel really connected as well to the ground. But just thinking about the force that I put into the ground, for example, because I also, like, as you said, I also like, I rebound a lot. Like this season I averaged like 7.5 rebounds or something, because I really jump a lot and like land hard on my feet. And I just can't imagine wearing those every day for like in practice or in games, because I feel like maybe like even injure my foot somehow by landing too hard on it. So I don't know, like we're gonna see. I'm definitely gonna do a review. I'm also gonna let you know if they're nice or not.
I'd be super interested in trying them out too. I mean, that was kind of my issue with the Kobe 8s, is it feels like there's not enough support, like when you're hitting the ground. And it was funny, like I wore these in a lot of games last year and I had some good games in it. So I thought, because then my wife was like, why do you always wear those colorful shoes? Like they're cool, but like you never play good in them. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I went back and I looked at all the games I wore them and I was like, and I did like a little like statistical analysis. I was like, oh shoot, I played significantly less productive in these Kobe 8s. So I don't know if that's a performance review or a me problem, but that's why these have been shelved. But I love this colorway, the Venice Beach. But again, like I wore these for a ton last season. I had some breakdown in the same way the Sabrinas did. But I'm like you, I'm jumping, running, really aggressive on the court. So my shoes tend to break down faster than like a normal person would. But still, wanted to talk about them just because Kobe 8s are kind of iconic.
Yeah, I just want to say they're so iconic, man. Like I started playing basketball relatively late, so I'm like 25 now, and I only started really playing in a team when I was 16.
Oh wow.
So I never actually, before that, I kind of missed a good part of the Kobe line, so I never had an OG pair of the 8s or the 6s or 5s. I only had the Pro Tros. And I got a pair of the 8s from Kicks. It was kind of a surprise because they had a restock, and the guy I was talking to there, he just sent them to me without telling me. And then they arrived, and I was so hyped that I finally could try a pair of Kobe 8s that I went straight to practice with them, which I also normally don't do. I just like to wear them at home first or in the gym or for a shoot around. And they were actually kind of nice. I practiced well, so I was like, all right, I'll just wear them for the game tomorrow. Like, let's just do it. They didn't hurt me. That's the most important thing. And I played really badly. I had a terrible game. We won though, so it wasn't all that bad. But I thought about them a couple of times for another game, and I was like, nah, I just didn't play well enough with them. Like, they're just on the shelves now.
Yeah, that's one thing I feel like Nike has kind of overdid the Kobe 8 releases. I mean, they were releasing like almost like team colorways.
Yeah, I got one of those team colorways, yeah.
I got a pair of the gray team colorway as well. And I was just kind of like, they knew that the Kobe 8 was a hot shoe, that everybody loved it. And so they over-released it. Which, I mean, the more exclusive shoes can be available for everybody else, that's incredible. But they let the quality of the product drop a little bit. I don't know if they changed their materials or what, but a lot of people...
Yeah. No, they definitely dropped the quality there.
So.
And it was kind of weird because, as you said, at first they were so sought after and so hyped. And Nike didn't release them for a while.
Yeah.
And they knew exactly what they were doing. They're just trying to push the demand.
Yeah.
And now they're just trying to throw out all the colorways.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been nice to just get consistently nice colorways or special colorways, because there were a lot of nice options back in the day.
Yes.
I mean, the Venice Beaches are really cool. The Kobe 8s that released now, they're really nice. So there's enough cool colorways, and I think they just overdid it a little bit. And it was the first time in a while that you actually could also see like Kobe colorways sitting or being restocked or something. Like, it was kind of weird because at first they wanted to have them in such an exclusive way, and then they go out and release a ton of shoes. So yeah, that was kind of weird from Nike's side.
For sure.
Is there any other pairs you want to talk about?
The only one I didn't talk about was the other book one, the Moss Point. These are a little different than the other books I have. I mean, they have some of the cloth material kind of at the top, but here's like leather. So I know no, you're not a big fan of that, but they feel substantially different than the cloth book ones. And so far I've liked it more. I think it provides a little more stability and kind of structure to the shoe. I've worn these for about 3 weeks now. So we'll see if they kind of hold up better than, because with the other book ones with the cloth, like the structure is starting to break down. So we'll see, but I think it's something worth noting that be careful when you're ordering book ones, like pay attention to the different materials, because it seems like something small, but it can make a huge difference in how the shoe performs. Just something to consider, because I feel like we've been on this book one hype train, but there are some differences between the books that you order.
Definitely. On the one hand, it's nice that you get like different options.
Yeah.
But if you don't know about them, it can be kind of weird. For example, you want like a thinner upper if you're playing outdoors or something, or if you in general want more support. And if you don't know about it, it's just important to keep that in mind, that there's different materials for different colorways. With that being said, thanks for being here. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I think it was a nice video. We can definitely do that from time to time if there's demand for it.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here again. It was a pleasure talking to you. It's been a really long video, so also thanks to the viewers if you're still here at the end. And last word belongs to you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate what you do for the basketball community. I think basketball players love their sneakers, and someone's going to talk about them. And letting people know the information on the shoes, what's good, what's bad, and giving their authentic opinion, because I think the last thing we wanted to see you guys do is buy a pair of shoes and not like them, because that's the worst feeling in the world. And so big shout out to you, Lucas. If you guys are still here, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel. I cover all my game day vlogs, all my training stuff in the off season, basically show you guys the life of an overseas pro basketball player and the ins and outs and kind of how to be a true professional. So appreciate you for having me on, Lucas, and yeah, cheers.
Cheers, man. See you guys next time.
Bro, that was good.